Hi, this is Gordon, and welcome back. Thank you for watching and being with us today. We are in Boston with Dr. Robert Cantu, who's a neurosurgeon and really one of the top in the field in the United States, really the world. Very brilliant man. You're going to enjoy listening to him. Dr. Cantu.
Gordon,
Good to see you.
nice to see you.
Thank you, sir. Tell us how'd you get to Boston?
Well, I grew up in Northern California, played my ball just north of you, Cal Bears,
Oh, man.
and actually played on the baseball team. Didn't play
Yeah.
football
Okay.
like you, but had a great time there, and then went to medical school at UC San Francisco, and then came east after that to Columbia Presbyterian, then up to Mass General. It's Mass General that brought me to Boston.
And so you got here and couldn't get out.
Never got out.
Yeah, that's right. But you've done some tremendous work in the area of concussions and working with brain and really athletes in general at every level.
Well, it's fun, and it's especially fun for me now as an old guy to really see concussion get its due. It didn't for a lot of the years that we were working in it and with it. We're certainly involved with other types of catastrophic brain and spine injuries, and they always got appropriate concern. Concussion was kind of pushed to the side, but now over the last 5 years especially, it's getting its recognition, and especially because of the known now consequences for a few people of traumatic encephalopathy, which is a pretty bad fate.
Wow. I don't think we really had the respect, like you said, for concussions. I know as an athlete, when I played, even in professional sports, I really didn't understand it, and so it was almost kind of laughed about and poo-pooed and come on, man, shake it off and keep going. But a concussion is a very serious event in your life.
Well, a concussion is a traumatic brain injury, and if not managed correctly, especially if not managed correctly, can lead to some pretty significant problems. The most common of which is post-concussion syndrome, which is simply symptoms that now don't clear within a week or two, but last for months, and in some cases don't clear at all, and that terminates a career. And then especially for high school and to a lesser extent college age, not so much the pros, the second impact syndrome, which has a quite high incidence, almost 50%, of either death or very significant permanent brain damage.
With second impact syndrome, and is that primarily in younger people or older?
Primarily younger. And it's simply somebody who's had an initial brain injury, usually a concussion, who before the concussion symptoms have cleared, has gone back to play or practice again and picked up another brain injury that now sets up this cascade of loss of autoregulation of blood flow and leads to massive increased intracranial pressure, brain herniation, and a very high chance for death.
Wow. So if I'm an athlete somewhere in the age of maybe 10, 11, 12 to 17, 18, and I'm playing my sport, I'm having fun, I'm hanging out with the guys, I might even be at practice. We might be throwing the ball around, I get tackled or get hit. It's pretty important that I'm hearing you say that we need that athlete needs to look at that and handle that appropriately. Tell me a little bit about, if I'm talking to an athlete, what's happening in his or her body, because it's not just like a sport like football, but it's volleyball, it's soccer, it's basketball. I mean, all those are contact sports where the brain can sustain an injury.
Absolutely, yes. What actually happens with most concussions, we think of it as a metabolic injury because of the violent shaking and jarring of nerve tissue. A metabolic cascade occurs in which ions that are normally in neurons, particularly potassium, go out into the spaces outside the nerve cell. Other ions come in. Neurotransmitters are massively released from the endings of nerves so that the nerve cell can't work, it can't function. And depending upon what part of the brain's involved, it can give rise to any one of 20, 25 different symptoms. If it's the back part of the brain where we see from, visual symptoms, changing of the color of the sky, or everything going black, or vision becoming splotchy or blotchy. Back of the brain also controls balance, the cerebellum, so maybe dizziness, lightheadedness, trouble with gait. If it's primarily the temporal lobe, that's the area of the brain that we think with, we remember with, so amnesia for events can be an issue. So it all depends on what part of the brain is involved. But what normally happens in most cases, if the brain is given rest, physical and cognitive rest, is that there'll be a reestablishment of the normal potassium ions back in the cells. The neurotransmitters will be put back on the end of the nerves, and everything will function normally down the road. Right. Usually a few days, sometimes less, sometimes longer.
Yeah. So the good news is, if you detect it and handle it, that the body has a unique ability to heal itself.
That's absolutely correct, and that's the number one and most important thing. Recognition, so you don't pick up a second concussion while still symptomatic from a first.
Okay, so I'm playing girls soccer, and I'm out and I just got brushed up a little bit. I kicked the ball, I scored, but I got knocked down. I hit my head. I got up. I was a little dizzy, but I felt it was nothing. I kind of stumbled some, but I went to the sidelines, kind of had some water, caught my breath again. Should I just brush that off, or should I report that to somebody, or what?
Well, it's best to report it, but the major thing is, for sure, if any of those symptoms persist, you really need to report it. It's not safe to play through those symptoms.
Okay.
The brain and the spinal cord are kind of unique to any other place of the body. I'm sure you played through a lot of injuries,
yes.
Probably many of them safely, musculoskeletal injuries, if not too severe. Just can't play through any brain or spinal cord injury while it's still symptomatic.
Boy, I tell you what, that is such an important point, because as I really don't even want to mention this or even admit to it on camera, but I did. I mean, there was times I remember specifically a game I played in Denver. I was rung pretty good, and to the point that I wasn't quite sure where I was. I went to the sidelines. The doctor asked me a couple of questions. How many fingers do I have? I couldn't really even see his fingers, but I said 2, because he always seemed like they put up 2. So he asked me where I was. I said, man, I know where I am. And I really didn't, but I was looking around and I saw the scoreboard, and through the flashing lights, I could see Denver. So I said, we're in Denver. And he laughed and said, stay on the bench. You're out. And so, seemed to me like an hour had gone past. And I said, man, I can't, but I cleared up. And I said, I can't sit here. I got to get back in the game. So I went to the coach and I said, I've been cleared. I'm ready to go. So he sent me back in the game. I go back in the game. We call a play. I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be doing. And I ended up playing most of the second quarter. And then at halftime, I come back to myself. And the doctor catches me and he's like, Gordon, this is not a game that you're playing with. This is your life here. Yeah. And that's why he shut me down for the second half. But I really didn't even realize it. I didn't take the seriousness that we really need to take on a concussion like that.
Yes, I think that's pretty common. It's unfortunate, hopefully going to change. They had to take your helmet to keep you off the field.
Right. And I think, athletes get this driven passion to play the game. But what we're finding out is that you have to do the things necessary for long-term success, not only in the sport, but in your life in general.
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.